Paul Graham wrote this essay. It was a very compelling essay. I think the theory is a really great way he framed it, that there's this orientation that is germane to founders, which is being in the details, having real ownership of your company, which is different than a classic manager mode. But to be clear, I never said this was something exclusive to founders. Basically, the general principle is being in the details and being very, very hands-on. And it's this basic idea that great leadership is not absence. Great leadership is presence. And then the counterpoint is, well, what about like, isn't this sound like micromanagement? Isn't this micromanagement? And no one wants to work for a micromanager. And here are my two thoughts on micromanagement. Number one, I actually think like a lot of people are afraid to get in the deals because be accused of being a micromanager. And I actually think a lot more leaders would benefit from being in the details and model more hands-on leadership. But the other thing is what Steve Jobs said, because what I took from founder mode, a lot of it was what I learned observing Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs said he didn't believe he was a micromanager because he said that what I do is I'm in the details, but I'm partnering with the people. And if you ask Johnny Ive, I don't think Johnny Ive thought Steve Jobs was a micromanager, but Steve Jobs visited the design studio every single day. They had lunch every single day together. They were talking. Steve was steeped in every detail of the design of the iPhone, but he wasn't telling Johnny what to do. They were having discussions. They were partnering. And I think that's the key. I remember one time I had an employee and they asked me, is this your decision or is this my decision? And I said, that's exactly the problem. Every decision should be our decision. This notion of this black and white like decision making authority between owner and worker, manager and employee is, I think, the problem. That you're kind of partnering with people in the details, working with them. And so that was probably the single most important philosophy. That as a founder or as a leader, you set the pace of the organization. You set the standards of equality. You set the standard of how much you care. You identify excellence. That you work with the leaders on the ground, and you don't defer to them, but you don't tell them what to do.